Rather lads, welcome back to Kossi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kossi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, we are racing to the deadline day. We are racing to the closure of the transfer window. Arsenal have not signed in anyone. We are still trying to get deals over the line. We're still trying to sign in a player. A midfielder is our priority, but it is still very, very complicated. Now, I can't confirm right now that Arsenal have sent in a second bid for Douglas Luiz to Aston Villa. The initial bid that was sent in, which was £20 million plus add-ons, was rejected. Now, Arsenal have sent in a second bid, according to Sky Sports, TalkSport, and Fabrizio Romano as well. £25 million, including add-ons, is what has been sent in by Arsenal to Aston Villa. The situation has not changed with Villa. They don't want to sell Douglas Luiz, and their stance and resolve remains unshaken and unchanged. They don't want to sell the player. They feel remaining or retaining Douglas Luiz, at the moment, improves their squad, with the likes of Leandro Dentonka joining and also the likes of Joe McGinn as well in the squad. So very complicated hours for Arsenal, very awkward moments for Arsenal. Do we have an option? Because reports are also indicating that for Aston Villa to sell, they're going to be asking for a reported £40 million. That is ridiculous, because right in the first place, Arsenal never wanted to pay a lot of money for players whose contracts are running down. That is the reason as to why we have not made any offers for Yuri Tielemans. Leicester City asking for in excess of £25 million, and Arsenal feeling that is way too much. Now, the only reason as to why Arsenal have agreed to pay over £25 million for Douglas Luiz is the injuries from the injuries with Thomas Partey and Mohamed Elneny. That is the only situation that has actually pushed us to bid £25 million for a guy whose contract is running down in 2023. I mean, literally, you can get him on a free next summer. You can tie him down on a contract, in January. All the things can happen. You can even buy him in January for less than £10 million, just like Juventus did with Dennis Zakaria. So awkward moments with Arsenal right now. Douglas Luiz has already agreed personal terms. A 5-year deal has been tabled for the player, and he has accepted it. He's trying to push Aston Villa to change their stance and change their decision, but it is not very, very easy right now. Now, the big question in the market is, do Arsenal have an alternative? Do Arsenal have an option? We've been very, very well known in the market to have a very good transfer strategy, having one player behind the other. It happened with Alessandro Martinez. He was the priority. It didn't happen. We went with Alexander Zinchenko. And we got that one done very, very well and quickly. It happened with Dusan Vlahovic. We didn't get it done, and we went in with Gabriel Jesus. So the question is that in the next 5 hours, do Arsenal have a doable alternative? Danilo at Palmeiras is a very, very good shout at the moment, but they do not want to sell to Arsenal. That is what we That is what we know at the moment. Now, listen to this. This is according to Alex Crook, TalkSport. Arsenal's second offer for Douglas Luiz, worth £23 million plus add-ons, has been rejected by Aston Villa. That is coming in the last few seconds. The second offer, worth £23 million plus add-ons, to take it to £25 million, has also been rejected, just coming in as I'm recording this. So I just wanted to include it into the video. Now, difficult times now. This even makes the situation a little bit awkward, because listen to this. Conor Harrison, Tielemans to Arsenal in this window is officially off. This has also been confirmed by Ben Jacobs. Now, I will confirm here that Conor Harrison and Ben Jacobs have been the two main accounts to report around Yuri Tielemans. They're the two accounts, they're the two journalists to spread a lot of optimism when it comes to Yuri Tielemans signing for Arsenal. But now both of them are confirming that Tielemans will stay at Leicester City, like I reported from Rob Turner earlier on. The Leicester City really want to keep Yuri Tielemans, and they do not expect any big players to be living in the window. So with Tielemans staying and our second bid being rejected by Aston Villa, I think it is highly unlikely, honestly, that Arsenal will pay a figure very close to £40 million for Douglas Luiz. Villa feel the player is much more worth than £25 million. He has told them he doesn't want to sign a new deal with them. Now, for them, I think they feel very, very comfortable. They feel very confident that if the transfer window closes, they can talk to the player and go back to that position in which they were with the player in January and get him to sign a new deal worth 3 more years. So a lot is happening here, lads. But I want us to run through the stories before I can get my reaction onto these stories. So that is confirmed. The second offer is in and rejected. That is confirmed. Yuri Tielemans stays at Leicester City. That is confirmed as well. Now, I wanted to speak about Mykhailo Modric as well just in a minute. Okay, this is Rudy Galetti in a minute. It says Arsenal and talks between Arsenal and Shakhtar Donetsk broke down and got complicated for Mykhailo Modric. There is no subsidization on the offer. Shakhtar Donetsk want £42 million, and that figure is not going to be reducing any point in time. Arsenal do not want to pay that much amount of money. We've talked about that, and Arsenal feel the deal is actually dead. In the next 6 hours, they are not planning on revisiting that deal. So, look, the point here with Rudy Galetti, still claiming that internal negotiations and evaluations are being held at Arsenal to see if Mykhailo Modric is worth another bid. For me, a total bullshit. I don't think Arsenal are going to go back to Shakhtar to try to sign Mykhailo Modric. So that is what is happening at the moment. Bids turned in, bids turned down, bids sent in, bids rejected for Arsenal. It is very, very awkward. And I'm going to say this, guys. We are partly responsible for the situation in which we are at the moment. I don't like blaming this and that, but we are partly responsible for the situation in which we find ourselves in right at the moment. Yuri Tielemans has always been there, very available. We never even made a serious offer. We never made a bid that was considered legit by the mainstream media, that was considered legitimate by Leicester City. So for Leicester City, they have told Yuri Tielemans, you're going to be staying at Leicester, not because we're standing in your way, but because the club you want to sign for does not want to make any offers for you. It is quite very, very frustrating for a player the caliber of Yuri Tielemans. I've seen a couple of stories claiming that he doesn't know whether the next 6 hours are really going to change anything about his future. A couple of other clubs interested in him at the moment. We are talking Leicester City, expecting offers from Newcastle and a couple of other clubs. Now, I don't see him go to clubs like Southampton, Crystal Palace, but I very much see him go to clubs like, like Newcastle, because Newcastle have the money, they have the financial, they have the financial power, they have the minerals, they can attract him, and they have a very, very nice project going on there. So at the moment, Arsenal find themselves between a very hard place and a rock. What do we do from here? Douglas Luiz is certainly, even if his contract was 3 years younger, I think he's not worth £40 million. We need to agree to this. I think he's an okay player, and I just want to agree with the words of one of my favorite people on YouTube and Twitter. The Guna Talk, Tom. Tom talks football. He says, he has said that if you look at Douglas Luiz, he doesn't improve on our strongest 11, but he definitely is an improvement on our squad, right? So an improvement on Mohamed Elneny as a backup to Thomas Partey, but he's not better than but he's not better than Thomas Partey, and he doesn't impact or even affect our strongest 11. And I agree with that. Because, look, and I'm not saying this because he doesn't want to sign for us. I think it would be a magnificent addition because he's durable, because he's a very good holder of the ball, his passing is late, and all these advantages that I've spoken about do not change because the deal is actually not happening in our favor all those will stand at the moment. But what I'm trying to say here, lads, is prime Douglas Luiz, who we have actually not yet seen. I think is a player walking into his prime, going into his prime. He's 24, probably in the next 2-3 years, at 26, 27, we will see the best of Douglas Luiz. But currently, Douglas Luiz is not worth £40 million, even if he had his contract 3-4 years younger. The maximum I would be willing to pay for Douglas Luiz is £30 million. And I love Aston Villa. I love Aston Villa and their transfer policy and what they're doing. I've been watching Sky, and they make a very, very interesting argument that Aston Villa is not a club that is in financial despair. So they're not running the model of Ajax, of Borussia Dortmund, of Lyon, where selling players is key to their survival. Actually, if you think about their transfer strategy and how they've been spending money, Aston Villa are a little bit stronger financially than these other clubs where we've been signing players, apart from Manchester City. So that makes negotiations with such clubs very difficult. That makes negotiations with such clubs very complicated, because they want to acquire more quality and add to the quality they currently have. They're not thinking about selling their players for a given profit. Yes, they did sell Jack Grealish, but the reason they sold Jack Grealish was Grealish was ahead of the project. His development was certainly ahead of the project that they were having, and they decided, we will sell Jack Grealish for 100 million quid, and we will reinvest that kind of money in the squad. So their stance is, we don't want to sell Douglas Luiz. He is not for sale. We want to make our squad better by having Douglas Luiz, Joe McGinn, and Leandro Dendoncker. Now, I'm very, very scared for Arsenal. If we cannot raise our offer to £40 million, that means Aston Villa will not be saying they've already agreed a deal, a 13 million deal for Leandro Dendoncker. And I'm very, very surprised, dear lads, that they agree a deal for a potential replacement of Douglas Luiz, but then they don't agree to sell him. I mean, that is pretty some resolve. That is pretty some very, very strong resolve. I thought the signing of Leandro Dendoncker would cause things to ricochet around and cause some kind of ripple effect. It is not happening at the moment. It is not happening anytime soon. So do not be very, very shocked when I come here and say Arsenal have ended the transfer deadline day without signing anyone, as Aston Villa have refused and declined to agree a deal for Douglas Luiz. So the question, guys, is what should we do at the moment? I'm coming live very, very soon for you guys to give me your opinions and thoughts. But what should we do at the moment? Some solutions that I talked about yesterday, in my bank, go for Yuri Tielemans. That is the option there is for us now. You know, I'm thinking here. It is more of a situation where you notify your bankers that you will be going for a loan anytime soon, but you're expecting money somewhere else. The moment you don't get that money, you run to your bankers and activate that request. Give me a loan, I'll pay back in such and such a time. I think that is what we have to do. We need to run out to our bankers who are Leicester City at the moment and tell them, look, it has been 3, 4, 5 months of us talking to you about Yuri Tielemans, but we had run to Douglas Luiz. It has failed. They have played us. We need to get these, we need to get Yuri Tielemans done. Now, I'm pretty much very, very happy here that we have agreed to table over 25 million for Douglas Luiz. Very good. Table the same amount of money for Yuri Tielemans. I don't think Leicester are going to turn down 25 million for Yuri Tielemans just for him to walk away on a free. They're not that stupid. And I also think Leicester are not financially strong as Aston Villa, because Aston Villa have 2 billionaires in their ownership hierarchy. So money is not, 25 million pounds is not money that's going to make them jump around. But with Leicester City, although they have sold Fofana for 75 million pounds, 25 million pounds for Yuri Tielemans is a very, very good deal. So that is what we need to do. Get Yuri Tielemans now. There is no other option, guys. There is no other way. We walk away from this transfer window with a player. What are we going to do? I mean, who are we going to go for? I don't know. I mean, the few players in the championship that you could go for, I'm struggling to think about any. That is how difficult it is at the moment. I'm really under pressure. But we did, I think, we did talk about a Norwegian at Sheffield United. That was last summer, and the name, I hope it comes back, but I've just forgotten. I mean, those are the kind of deals you can do at the moment. Go to the championship, get a few players, or get 1 or 2 players from there, and hope they do well. But signing a Premier League proven player, because that is our strategy. It is pretty tough and very demanding. We want a Premier League proven player. We want a player who's ready to compete. We want a player who's proven. We want a player with experience and a player who is ready to run and get going. So that kind of profile doesn't take hours to get. That kind of profile doesn't take hours to get. You're going to take some days. You will even take some weeks to get that kind of player. I mean, I'm thinking about players from the Italian Serie A. Make no mistake, Italian Serie A clubs are very hard to negotiate with. But how about if we went to the Italian Serie A and probably to AC Milan and told them, here we are, or probably to Juve and told them, we want Zakaria. I mean, Zakaria would be a very, very good deal. With Leandro Paredes now going to Juve, Zakaria can be left to go. I'm thinking about Zakaria probably on a loan deal initially. I'm thinking about Edson Alvarez. Of course, he's been told by Ajax that he will not be left to go. Chelsea have wanted him, but Edson Alvarez is another player that I think is a very, very good addition. Would be a very, very good addition to Arsenal. I've also just thought about Sesco Fofana in the French League One. We've talked about Fofana. We've talked about Sesco Fofana, and this is the time when we are desperate. This is the time when we want to get these deals over the line. And probably Sesco Fofana is Seko Fofana, actually, not Sesco Fofana, but Seko Fofana is a deal we can do. It's a deal we can accomplish. It's a deal we can actually get over the line. But it's a very, very difficult situation now, guys. It's a very, very difficult one. Many of our offers are now being rejected. I'm looking at Harry Simeon's comment here, and he says, I like Douglas Luiz. Think he had so much, needed depth to the squad in the midfield area. But given his contractual situation, if Aston Villa are demanding 40, I would walk away. And that is the point I've told you, lads. For me, it's not even about the contractual situation. 40 million at the moment. Partey cost us 45, and he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. The problem here is Partey cannot keep fit. But if Partey can't keep fit, 45, and then I bring in Douglas Luiz for 40 million, it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. So, guys, I don't know what you think. I don't know what you're thinking. But for me, go get Yuri Tielemans. There is nothing for us to bring back. Go get Yuri Tielemans, right? Because if they've turned down 25 million, what do? Do we go for 30? Do we go for 30 million? This would be absolute. Look, I think we are beggars here. We don't have a choice. But going for 30 million for Douglas Luiz, 1 year left on his contract, this is going to be a panic buy. And that is something I do not want. I don't want us to look at Douglas Luiz in terms of his price tag. I don't want us to look at Douglas Luiz as a player we so much wanted, paid 35 million pounds for, and he came at Arsenal and it didn't work out. And that's why I felt like 20 million was a good price. If it doesn't work out, with 3 years left on his contract or 2 years, you can sell him to the Italian Serie A. You can sell him to anywhere for some 15 million, for some 20 million, and you get your money back, right? But anyway, that is what is happening with Douglas Luiz at the moment. I've reported about Yuri Tielemans as well. I've told you the deal is kindly off at the moment. Unless Arsenal can resurrect this one. There are a few other Premier League clubs interested in him, but we are not yet sure if they're going to get that deal over the line as well. So, That's it. That's it. That's it for now. Unless anything pops up, I don't think we will be talking much about. We'll be talking about any transfer incomings. Now I've seen Juventus interested in Gabriel Martinelli. They just seem very interested in this Arsenal, in the Arsenal players. I don't think they have the means, by the way, to sign Gabriel Martinelli. I think Martinelli is a very, very expensive lad. If you came in at the moment, I think we could ask for £60 million quid, and if he signs a new contract, it's going to be in excess of 70 million. If the likes of Anthony are costing 100 million pounds, 100 million euros, then there is no doubt Gabriel Martinelli is worth around 80, 90 million euros. Because for me, if he can drive himself through this season, get very important metrics, get decent statistics, he's going to be one of the best forwards in the Premier League. So, guys, I don't know what to do. We are coming live. We're going to be discussing much about this, but I'm a little bit anxious. I'm a little bit nervous. We've decided to go in for a good deal on deadline day, but a complicated one and a very difficult one. Villa don't want to sell. Shakhtar Donetsk don't want to sell, and both of them are asking for 40 million pounds each in their players. That means Arsenal will have to spend a late 80 million pounds if we're going to get those deals over the line. Though I think we have an option. I think we have a solution. Walk in humbly, bow your head down and tell Leicester City we were wrong. We were wrong when we said Yuri Tielemans will not join us. We were wrong not to make an offer. We were wrong to waste your time. Kindly reconsider and get Yuri Tielemans. If we cannot do that, I'm pretty much scared. I'm really, really scared because Partey's injuries starting this early, I don't see that change anytime soon. But maybe the other option I would think about, guys, is pretty much crazy, but I'll do this. I would tell Arsenal to go and buy Danilo from Palmeiras at 45 million pounds. If Palmeiras can agree to get 45 million pounds, that is if they can forget all about this crazy 86 million pound deal. So if they can settle for 45 million, go get him, because he's 20 and I think his resale value will be very, very high. If he comes into the Premier League and it doesn't work out, you can easily sell him anywhere, to Spain, to Italy. I think those are the two clubs, or even to Portugal. Those are the three leagues that do well with Brazilians, and you will get your money back. So instead of investing 35 million pounds in Douglas Luiz, I would rather spend 40 on Danilo, because I think Danilo is young. He will develop well. And when time comes for him to leave the club, we will make a massive profit. Douglas Luiz, I don't look at him as a player on whom we can make a profit. And even if he decided to leave and it didn't work out, his resale value is going to be dropping rather than rising. So anyway, that is it at the moment. Arsenal pushing and pushing and pushing. Let's see if we can get any deals done. Our second bid has been rejected. No question about that. Now I'm looking at Sky Sports as well, reporting that Liverpool have failed their attempt to sign Douglas Luiz. They did make an attempt to sign him today, but the player wants to go to Arsenal. Sky Sports. Can we get it done? Everyone is pushing on their own end. Everyone is pushing to see that the deal gets done, but it is still very, very hard. Now, in the last 2 minutes, coming in from Rudy Galletti, Arsenal still looking for a winger. One of the names on the list, among others, is Noah Lang. Arsenal will try to close a deal for a winger in these last hours, even if it's quite very, very complicated, as per Rudy Galletti. That is confirmed as well. Breaking news, Arsenal have just signed no one for record-breaking fee on deadline day. See you soon.